IVM.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the TFG Indian Football podcast. We are back after a break of a week, maybe a two, but it's I-League that we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about ISL as well. A lot of things going on in the first weekend. We've seen a screamer coming our way all the way from Lajong. Gokulam held Mohun Bagan to a draw. That's the big news. But bigger is Mohun Bagan again, because it's Chiranjeet on the line with me. Chiranjeet, held to a draw by Gokulam Kerala FC. That's good news. You know, that just shows the league is really tight right from the beginning. And we will talk about the matches. But Chiranjeet, is that the big news that you're wanting to talk about today?
Yeah, well, it's just like Mohun Bagan to go out there on an important away match and hit the post 3 times and then miss a couple of chances and drop 2 points. Like that's completely within their element, and nobody's surprised there. But another news that's been a little bit in a long time coming, and it has finally arrived. All the infighting that we keep hearing about in Mohun Bagan, and we saw all that stuff boiling over in the annual general meeting, where in front of more than 1,000 people, 1,000 members, the officials were fighting with each other, literally pushing and shoving, Kung Fu Panda style, and that led to some assault cases in the court. It wasn't taken to court. I don't think it has been taken to court. The FIR was filed, and all that stuff went down. I think we can close the chapter on those now, all those ugly scenes. All that was leading up to the club elections, and the elections have finally happened. Right. So yesterday, today is Monday. So on Sunday, the elections finally took place. Of course, the two main people who were going up for it was Tutu Bosu, the former president, who is now the club general secretary, and the former general secretary Anjan Mitra. Now, the interesting story is that these two have been friends since children. They have been coming and watching Mohun Bagan matches since they were children. And it's just over the last couple of years that they have grown apart. And after running the club together for more than 2 decades, they went up against each other for the first time. And at one point, after trying a lot of things, tricks and stuff, which are a lot of details that we don't have time to go into. Let's just say that Anjan Mitra realized that no matter what he does, he's not going to be able to win it. So he withdrew his nomination at the last point. So it became a pretty much one-sided affair. And Tutu Bosu, his son Sinjoy Bosu, their close colleague Devashish Datta. These are all people who have been active in the club in some capacity over the last 10 years or so. So they all won the election pretty overwhelmingly. Like 60% of the members came and cast the votes, and it looks like more than 70% of the votes went to the Bosu panel. I'm approximating a little bit. It's probably even close to 80%. Varies from person to person, but 20 to 21% panel, everybody got elected. So finally, after a long time, we have a bunch of people running Mohun Bagan who are not fighting within each other. At least that's one of the
that's the hope. That's the hope that we have, and it solidifies the belief that good things are coming along for Mohun Bagan, at least from the administrative perspective.
Who's responsible for this whole whole thing that went down over the last 3 years? All the drama, all the fighting, all the protests, and the whole ugly period of change or transformation that went down. The main factor once again was ISL. And I should, every Mohun Bagan fan out there should thank ISL for help, making this happen, because Praful Patel came and said, remember a couple of years ago when he said, ISL is meant to, release a cat among pigeons. And I criticized him for that comment. Others criticized him as well because, of course, cats kill pigeons. And even some of the Goan clubs took up on that comment that, you're killing us through, it pretty much is saying that AIFF implemented ISL to kill clubs. But I think what he meant was to force the clubs to change for the better. And we saw with East Bengal, they had a deal with Quets Corp earlier this year, and they're going the more corporate professional route. And this entire thing was also happening because of ISL, because of course everybody knows Mohun Bagan are about to get into ISL. For that they will have to sign up with a corporate partner, and whoever was going to win this election was going to be the one who would make the big decisions. Right? It's not 100% because the football team is a little bit different from the club itself. The club ultimately owns the football team, so whatever happens there would not happen without the approval of the club at this moment. So that's what this fight was all about. It was about who gets to make that deal, who gets to put their name out there and take credit for turning Mohun Bagan into one of the richest clubs in the country. And that's what was happening. And I think the members have chosen the right guy. Because, remember, Steve Katz was announced as a partner. Turned out that entire deal was bullshit. So that all came from Mr. Mitra. And I just don't think he had it in him to, carry out this entire huge transformation. These guys, although I'm not big fans of them, they have done some things in the past that I have disagreed with, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people who voted for them also feel the same way. But these are the guys who can pull it off. So, yeah, I'm happy. Even though Mohun Bagan can drop 2 points, this is a happy day for all Mohun Bagan fans. And I think it should pretty much be a happy day for others as well, because if Mohun Bagan are on board to getting into ISL, that means the restructuring of Indian football, everything else, just went on a faster track. And we can now say with 95% certainty that we're going to see a restructuring by next year.
Yeah.
2019, we're going to see a new league system.
Yeah.
So that's the news.
Major movements happening at the Kolkata clubs, and it's heading in a direction that was expected much earlier, but I think the time is here. Probably 2019-20 season is when we will see the restructuring, earlier known as the merger, and it's getting closer. Let's hope it's for the, as we always say, it's for the betterment of Indian football. Talking about Mohun Bagan and the draw, there was another draw over the weekend in the I-League, and this was a stalemate. Minerva Punjab title holders played home the first game, and they played with Churchill Brothers, relegated and coming back rejuvenated. Great fight over there, but the game ended in a 0-0 scoreline, and that just opens up things for Churchill Brothers as well. A great way to start the campaign. And also the big match on the weekend for I-League was Shillong Lajong versus Aizawl. Shillong obviously playing at home under a good crowd, a noisy crowd, the drum beating, and you can call that a dub. That's been the case so far. So we are used to derbies being from different states as well. But that was the game to watch. That was the game to be on the edge of your seats. And Shillong Lajong was the victors over there, taking all 3 points. But not before we talk about how they were able to do it. And it was another Naurem that we'll be talking about. But this time it is not the Naurem that we talked about last season. This is Mahesh Naurem, and he's playing for Shillong Lajong. Last day it was the Arrows, the Nongdamba Naurem from Arrows, who made a name for himself with a solo goal, getting past, dribbling past couple of defenders and finishing it in sublime style. And this time it was a left-footed finish from Mahesh, and that just takes the it just takes the cake for the goal of the weekend. What a left foot curler!
Can you believe that was his first game in the top division? Like he's a Shillong Lajong Academy product, and he was picked from Shillong Premier League basically. He has never played an I-League game before. He's never played in the national level before. Young kid.
Yeah.
Right. I think he's 17 or 18 at this point, and he scores that goal, that finish with that left footer from that range. Like he must have. The goal must have been like less than 25% of its actual width for him from the position he took that shot.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful curler. Easily the goal of the month. Easily.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's another goal that comes close to it. And what a debut. What a way to announce yourself in Indian football. Go out there and score against a team like Aizawl FC, who played AFC Champions League qualifiers last season.
Yeah, plus not to forget, Lajong is playing an all-Indian squad, so no foreigners in the Lajong team.
Yeah, well, Axel Kharsantu, he's a great coach. Obviously, he's young. He's been proving himself, taking care of the youth setup. So he's been with these kids for a while, and he's taking care of the academy since the previous coaches were there. So it's brilliant to see that he was given the responsibility to be the head coach this time. But I'm still look. It's a good victory. Right, for Lajong, we are praising their effort, their all-Indian squad and all that stuff. But you remember even Indian Arrows started with a pretty resounding win against Chennai City this season.
Yeah.
Right, and where did they end up? They ended up at the bottom. And look, even though they have got a victory in the first game, still Aizawl FC were keeping most of the ball. They were creating the better chances, and they're not gonna get a win every day with this team. It's a different kind of team in a different environment is going to produce a very different result against Lajong. It's still a relegation risk, I would say, and I'm still convinced that Shillong Lajong went into this I-League with an all-Indian squad because they know, in 2019, they're going to restructure the leagues, and the ISL is going to become the new top division. And other than East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, everybody else who can't pay big money as a franchise fee, they will be forcefully relegated to League One. So doesn't matter. They don't need to avoid relegation. They're going to get relegated anyway. That's the reason they chose not to spend big money on foreign players.
Yeah, and they've been showing the way, with the youngster that they have, and even I remember a season or two back.
But imagine with this beautiful young squad, if you had 4 or 5 good, experienced foreign players, Lajong could have been a title contender this time, but not. I don't think they will be anywhere near the title picture because of not having a foreign player. And this is what happens. It's not like Lajong don't want to win the league. They've been working hard to get into the top division since they became professional so many years ago.
Yeah. But I think that's the beauty about this club, and that's the reason I admire it so much. I remember a couple of seasons back as well, when they were naming the first squad playing in one of the first, I think it was the opening game, and we seen the list of Indian players. I think that was the maximum that they had fielded, and that just showed, they're just so brave, they're just so bold in going ahead with things that they believe in, that's probably part of their philosophy. And here they are, just going at it again, and they just keep going with their youth, of their strength of the youth, and it's never held them back. And I think they've got a respectable finish every time they've tried out things, and this again is a big statement. And that so along with that, we did have other results. So Chennai City played Indian Arrows. They got the better of them. 4-1 was the score for Chennai City. Neroka went down to East Bengal 2-0. But all the while, I think they were playing a brand of football that it just keeps everybody excited. And so that was for the I-League. And before we head on to a break, we will be talking about ISL on the other side, but it's not going to be just talking about the results. We're trying to find out what's happening with the bottom clubs not getting a single victory. So 3 teams we'll be talking about. That's Chennai City, Delhi Dynamos, and Pune City, and all that will continue talking on the other side of the break. Come back to us.
Hello. Welcome to another week on IVM Podcast. If you're not following us on social media, please make sure you do. Please. We're IVM Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This week on Cyrus Says, Cyrus talks to business advisor and sommelier Cecilia Oldenay. Cyrus learns some wine etiquette, and they do a wine tasting on the podcast. Vartalab is back with a brand new season. Akash and Naveen sit down with producer Janam to recap some of their favorite moments from season 1 and give you a glimpse of some of the fun new conversations they have in store for season 2. On the Pragati podcast, Pawan and China expert Manoj Keval Ramani dispel major myths about China and the Chinese government. On Pesa Vesa, we have a festive special episode with Hansi Mehrotra, who gives some truly valuable advice on how to make better financial decisions. On the latest episode of Crocs Tales, tune into the last 2 parts of Story 9, featuring a bully, a coward, and a girl with a neat twist. And guys, remember, we need you to spread the word about podcasting. It's one of the most important things you can do to help us out. Let your friends know if there's a podcast episode that you like, that you think that they would like. Please do spread the word. And with that, let's continue on with your show.
Welcome back after the break, and we are continuing talking about Indian football. This time we are heading on to the other side of the league. It's the ISL, and things are not working fine for a couple of teams, and they have been winless in about 4 to 5 matches so far. Delhi Dynamos, Chennai, the title holders, Pune City. All 3 teams have not tasted victory so far in the league, and we will try to find out what's going wrong with them. Chiranjit, what's happening with the title holders? Not the greatest of starts, and they don't look like coming close to a victory.
The whole thing is that it's not like they're playing a new squad, right?
Yeah,
they had the chance to lock down on their players. They did keep most of their players. All the stars are there. All the experienced players are there. Last year they got a pick of the best of Indian players, and they did it. John Gregory is there. John Gregory is the one who got them the title last time, and this is what's happening. It's puzzling. Where are they going wrong? Where are they just completely losing it? It's not just like the midfield is bad. It's not just that the attack is not working that much. They scored 5 goals, but they've conceded 10. Like, how? You're supposed to come in as defending champions. You're supposed to have that wind on your sail, right? And they made such good picks like Eli Sabia Filo, that Brazilian defender who came in. It's not like on paper it looks worse. Calderon is still there. Milson Alves is still there. Ralte is still there. Why is the defense not holding up? That's the big concern. It's not like they are playing too many new players. You look at the top of the attack. JJ is on a little bit of an off form. He has not scored goals so far, but you don't depend on one guy to score you goals, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, of course everybody's going to focus on JJ, and he's not going to have that free movement that he would have at one point. He's the guy everybody knows to target him. But seriously, man, the defense has to make up for it, right? You can't just like expect.
But over the years, we've seen one thing. Whenever you see a team doing well and they retain their coach, it's always the second season that's not worked for them. It's the belief that a coach and a team works in a good combination has to continue. But we've seen that happen with Mumbai City as well. Guimaraes in his second season was not as effective in the first. Probably it's a similar situation there. They also managed to retain the core team. Goyan was there, and even the midfield, Senaj Singh, everybody was there. But it didn't really work out. What happens is when you get in a new set, probably one or two game changes, what you're expecting, to continue working with your core team, is where they failed. It's a similar situation that Mumbai City also have gone through, and maybe it's the same. But the problem over here with Chennai City, with Chennai, is they're just not able to get in those consistency in their ball holding. So a lot of ball possession being lost, and there's no tracking back, and it's just easily open up so many times that there's a counter attack happening, and then just finishes off. There's no fight back from the team. Ball possession is, you can't pin things on a couple of players. It's the entire working combination from your attacking to your transitions as well. So a lot of things out of control for John Gregory. He's holding on, but let's turn our focus to one team that has hired a coach which did not do well in the former team, and big expectations from him. We're talking about Pune City, if you already guessed it, and Miguel Angel Portugal is the coach that has been officially parted ways. So Chiranjit,
casualty of the year.
Yeah, so we're talking about 3 games, and you have a coach being sacked, and here you have a title contender, 5 games without a win. So do you think Pune City was too early to do it, or is it Chennai still holding on, and probably that should have been done by Pune City as well?
Well, both Pune and Chennai, I think there are factors which are not out in the open. Like I think the reason Chennai and FC are failing as a unit, it's got more to do with footballing reasons. Something is sort of sapping their energy, and a similar thing might be happening at Pune City as well. I don't know if they have the same amount of same stakes up there, or the same kind of motivation that they had last season. It may just be missing, because one person can play badly, 2 persons can play badly, and a coach can replace them and try to get the team back on track. This collective failure is just astounding. And maybe Pune City have sacked coaches in midway before. I don't think they have sacked anybody this early after 3 matches. But yeah, it shows a little bit of an ambition from them that they have gone with Pradyumna Reddy, and it did seem like they went up and played Goa, one of the best striking teams this season, and their defense is not doing that bad either. I think they fixed their defense a little bit. Well, yeah, but they showed that spirit, under new coach. It seemed like the team had received a little bit of a vocal tonic, and I'm waiting to see that for Chennai FC as well. But it's not always a footballing reason. It comes down to a question of motivation, question of how they're being treated and what they're being told, and what's being put in front of them. Because we can say these are professional players. Sometimes they need a little bit more to fight for, and that goes down on the management, that goes down on the owners and others to keep them motivated, because like Chennai FC come in they should be the most charged up team out there, right? Chennai FC have never played in Asia before. They will be playing in AFC Cup qualifiers come February.
Yeah.
And they can look at the entire couple of months of ISL as a preparation for that historic step. So why are they not charged up?
It comes down to the coaching discipline, the philosophy that they come up with. So it's been a contrast for Pune City. Looking at Ranko Popovic's style, he was more aggressive. He was more focused on. He was more animated on the touchline. And we've seen Pune City having coaches, getting the suspensions, getting. They've been pushed down, probably may not be for the right reasons, but the aggressiveness was there. You could see it from the touchline, the manager's behavior, the body language. So probably this was in a contrast from that to being a more mediocre, being a more calm and stable. Somewhere it's not matching the ideology that Pune City wanted to continue with. Ranko Popov is more on the to fetching the results, and Portugal was more of the waiting, the patient, get the results slowly, work with the team, go deep inside training, and that's probably a difference that I see from last season's team of Pune City to this season.
Yeah, well, that could be the case. With ISL, it's still a short tournament, man. I mean, with 10 teams, you get 18 matches to prove yourself, and if you fall back in the first few games, it's very hard to make a comeback, because you're often playing a game for every 3-4 days. Maybe what you're saying is right, man, because Pradyum Reddy comes in and the players know there's something, they're not feeling safe anymore. Maybe the adulation they got for their performance last year, for getting into the semi-finals, people got a little bit too happy about it. That's why they were a bit complacent at the start, and it just did not translate in their performance. They played against FC Goa. I could see that they were not, they were fighting to preserve something. They were fighting for themselves. They were fighting for their own careers. They were fighting for the team. So that sense of security was taken away, and it did translate well, and that bit of aggression was there. Maybe it's the new coach, maybe it's just that they are performing because they know that nobody's place is secure. Maybe Chennai FC also need that stuff. Who knows? But you can't just tell John Gregory off, because he has already given you good results. Like last year, you won the trophy. Right, so nobody can go and say to John Gregory that you're not doing your job properly. Well, maybe we're going to see that if they don't beat anybody in there, if they don't get a win in their next couple of games, we might see something similar happening in Chennai FC as well. Yeah. Delhi Dynamos, though, I'm not too concerned about it. You can pinpoint what's going wrong in Delhi Dynamos. The defense is good. Midfield is not that bad. The strikers are just not finding their rhythm. Yeah. Right. The only thing that's wrong with them is that the strikers are not firing. So that can be fixed. You just know what you're working with. It's a young squad, and when the draft picks happened, on this podcast, we talked about it. We said that this is a long-term project that they have picked up. It may not deliver results immediately. So whatever those players are getting out there is valuable experience. So I think it's gonna be a factor of putting a little bit pressure on their pure strikers, like Kalu Derovic. He's gonna bear a big responsibility. But other than that, it's Daniel Alimpuya. You can't really expect him to carry a team at this age, right? Yeah. Manchong can't carry a team. They can't be the big star strikers. So So maybe it's going to come down to a couple of extra signings that they're going to make in the January window, and until then, just keep the ship tight, keep things going. Maybe expect some of the experienced midfielders to come up and get a couple of goals. And that's one of those interesting stats, man. It's that both Chennai FC and Delhi Dynamos have this situation. Defenders have scored more of the goals. Delhi Dynamos have scored 3 goals. 2 have come from defenders, Pritam Kotal and Rana Karami.
Yeah.
Right? That's not a sustainable situation after 5 matches. And you can't have an entire midfield of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More than 10 people are there in the midfield, and 9 of them have gotten game time so far. You can't have a midfield that doesn't score goals.
Well,
right?
Where I feel there's a difference between the performances of Delhi compared to the other teams that we talked about. They've got a strong goalkeeper there, and that's been the case. To complement their defense so much, and this allows your defense to be a little more free. Your midfield can work out freely. But the big difference I feel is in the what's lacking in the Delhi team is Marcos Tebar. Now, he's the guy who's played in the ISL for so many times, and he's been that piece that was missing in every team. And here he is back with the team here, and faced with injury. Probably it's just time, the time that shows you when he's back. He's that missing puzzle, that piece in the puzzle that Delhi was waiting for, and. It's just small problems. As you said, Chiranjeev, they're not doing anything, not doing too much wrong. It's just that finishing part, and probably you're expecting your strikers to step up and being supported well by the midfield. The defense, I think it's absolutely outstanding there, thanks to those brilliant saves by the keeper that they have, Doran Soro. He's been a star for most of the times where he could have been called the match savior. Had it not been for him, they could have easily lost the games that went into a draw as well. So that was about the 3 teams that we talked about. A little bit about the top side of the ISL table. It's looking good for Goa. Northeast United surprisingly being there, and Bengaluru FC always being that contender. Which team surprises you the most, performing well in the ISL?
Well, FC Goa had their task cut out, right? I mean, they established themselves as a very good attacking unit last season, and this time it was about fixing their defense. And so far they have done a good job at it. Although I'm not very sure they have been tested that much. Like, some of the teams are up there who have not been tested that badly. Like ATK are 4th. They got a draw against Jamshedpur FC, but the 2 wins that they got are against some of the teams who are having the worst time in their short history. So I think they're gonna get a tumble pretty soon. Mumbai City, I think, is going to go up there. They're going to creep back into the top 4. Northeast United, I'm not 100% surprised, but I'm happy. And this is that intangible that I was talking about. Why, while Pune City and Chennai FC players have a lack of motivation problem, Northeast United are desperate mode. They are in desperate mode this year because last season was a nightmare, and they have not made it into the top 4 after of the first 4 seasons. This is all about being there this time. This is all about for Northeast United to assert themselves in Indian football and saying, hey, we are here and we are competing for something as well. And it's great to see them, delivering. It's great to see them actually, putting together results on the back of each other. Elko Shatori, he was back when he was with East Bengal. He was a little bit of a different man. He seems he has changed a lot. A way more mature guy at the helm, and so far so good. And actually, if they do well in the next couple of games, they might actually be on top of the table. And when was the last time you saw Northeast United at the top of the table? It's going to be a very interesting thing to look at. Bengaluru FC are just being Bengaluru FC.
Yeah.
And one of the things is that they're not playing in Asia this time. It may come back to be a blessing in disguise for them because they can just focus on ISL. All the stuff that they had to do, all the switching around of squads, of sending, we will send this squad to AFC Cup, we'll play these people in ISL. All those headaches are gone. So all they will do is to win, is to try and win the ISL. And of course, they're the favorites. They were the favorites last time. They're the favorites this time.
Yeah. And on that note, we will head into the end of this show. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, do not forget to like, share, subscribe. Do let us know via comments what do you think about the ISL and the opening banging weekend that we had in the I-League. More matches, more talks about Indian football in the next podcast that we'll be having next week. Come back to us in the next podcast and do give TFG Football a follow if you've not already. IVM Podcast app is what you want to download from Android and iOS. Come back to us next week. Have a great week ahead.
How aware do you think you are of your laws and rights? Do you look up to laws when you are caught up in situations? Do you know what your rights are when you're stuck somewhere bad? Well, here's a show that can help you move an inch closer to being aware of what your rights are. Tune into Know Your Qanoon with me, Amber Rana. This is a podcast meant to answer all your law-related queries. Catch Know Your Qanoon every week on the IVM website or the app or anywhere you get your podcast from.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Vaisa, the show that talks money. On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa Vaisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have.